everybody, welcome back to Active Self-Protection Extra. It's Neil. It's Monday, so it's time to work with the Mantis.
Today's video is brought to us by Mantis. The Mantis family of products is integral to ASP staff building handgun and carbine skills and are your most economical and fastest path to improvement in your skills too. Whether you choose the X10, the Laser Academy, the Blackbeard, or use them all in concert, they will help your practice be more effective, efficient, and fun. Go check them out, pick up a unit, and thank them for sponsoring today's video.
All right, so I know you've probably been following along and maybe you haven't. If you haven't, maybe go back and watch the last few weeks here, but I've been walking through several of the Mantis X, the X10 stuff, specifically the dry fire portion of that app, and basically dusting mine off and getting back to work with it. It's been a little bit too long since I've done this kind of dry fire with the Mantis unit and measuring it. I know a ton of people got these things for Christmas and the holidays and that kind of thing. Other people had them sitting on the shelf just like I did, getting dusty, and so let's just get back into it together and work on it. This week I want to introduce you to the holster draw analysis. I'm going to do a screen share of this thing here so you'll be able to get to see it, but basically when you open up training, it's right up here at the very top. And what the holster draw analysis does is it basically is an opportunity for you to test your draw, see where you're at, and give you an idea of how fast you are at what different portions. So potentially you can do what we call micro drills to get faster in different areas of the draw. And it'll also give you some information on how consistent your draw pattern is, and I'll show you all of that as we go. But before I get started here, I want to show you. Let me set that down over there. All right, so I've got my VP9 back out here, and to do the holster draw analysis, unless you've got a specific holster built for a Mantis, it's better to have the mag plate adapter. Let me show you what I got there. So how that works is basically I take the mag plate adapter off of one of my magazines, put this little adapter on that I can get from Mantis, and then it's basically got a Picatinny rail there. Now what's cool about that, they have one that glues on or sticks on with adhesive. If you've got one that you can put one on, I know a few folks that have super glued them on as well, but then it's there, you can use your regular carry holster and everything, and life is good. So if you understand how that works, it's pretty tough to do the holster draw analysis without being able to get into the right holster. So if you're mounting it up front on the gun, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But let me start my video recording here, and you can see right up here at the top there's the holster draw analysis, and I'm set up for dry fire right and a forward mount. That doesn't matter, you don't have to change that mount setting. As far as where it is on the gun, you don't change that for the mag plate. So if I hit start, I'm going to hit start and set it down right here in front of me. It's going to give me a go signal. Let me turn my volume up so I can hear it, because it's kind of loud here in the garage in my hall. And it's telling me right now, holster the firearm. There we go. I'm just going to do a few and then we'll break these down. Ooh, went a little too fast. Apparently didn't. Oh yeah, it did. It's just not giving me the voice. If you want to start with hands up. Start with John Murphy's Thinker. Didn't get a very good there. All right. So now I'm going to stop that here and we'll talk through this a little bit. So what you're going to see here on the screen is there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different breakdowns of that specific draw. The first thing is going to be the grip, and what that's measuring is the time from the beep till you got your hand on the gun. So when it feels the gun move and you touch it. So I'm averaging in there in the let's see here, .35 probably would be my average there. I don't math well, you guys know that. Then the pull is how fast you get it out of the holster once you touch it. So that's getting that grip and snapping it out of there. I'm at, a dot or 0.15 probably average. And then horizontal is getting it out and to, so the muzzle is up and you're kind of in the fight is how I at least describe that. And I'm averaging what, .25, somewhere in that ballpark. Spending time on target to where I'm seeing my dot on the target before I break the trigger. Some of those are pretty quick. Some of those are 0 where I mean, as soon as I'm horizontal, I'm seeing my target. And so I'm letting the trigger go. And then there's the shot. And so it breaks all of that down. And if you look at this, you can see the pattern here. The slowest portion for me is the grip. And that's the reaction time. And that's what it is for a lot of people, is that everything else is pretty quick, but that getting the gun, the hand on the gun it takes a little bit longer. Now there's some different ways that we can practice this. One way that a lot of people do it is really focus on reaching out for that beep, with our ears. And I know it sounds a little bit woo and all of that kind of stuff, but really trying to anticipate and listen and hear for that beep and go on the buh of the beep versus the eep on the beep, if that makes sense. I know that when we talk about that in class, sometimes people kind of wrinkle their nose like, what are you talking about? Go as fast as you can and really react to that as fast as you can. Now I'm sitting here and I've got a heater here, and I'm out in my garage, right? I got my garage heater going. It doesn't help to be able to hear things all that well, but that's what I need to probably be working on right now, is my reaction time. And the really cool thing that I like about this then is that now I did 5 draws there. If I slide over here, I can see the draw pattern, the draw pattern stroke of each one of my draws, and you can see there's some inconsistencies there. Number 1 seems like a pretty smooth one that comes straight up and gets to the target. 2 gets a little wobbly. 3 gets kind of straight again. 4 gets a little bit of wobbly. You can see that's probably me fixing the trigger or the dot, and then number 5 was just a soup sandwich all the way along. What we really want to see is one even line, and depending on where you carry the gun, that line may be completely straight. So if you're carrying over here on your hip, what you're going to see is, if you're consistent, you're going to see that line, it's going to go straight up that line, where as I draw, I'm drawing from here, so we're going to see it kind of come out and move as the gun turns, if that makes any sense as well. So with all that said, let me show you a couple more things that you can do if you want to change that up just a little bit. So let's get back into the beginning of this thing. And what we can do is start hand on gun. So if you really want to work on it, and I'll face the target or the camera.
0.9.
So you can start with your hand on the gun, then clear just like this.
0.7. Stand by. 0.8.
Took me a second to see my dot there.
Stand by. 0.6.
All right. So I think that was 5. So now if we look at this, what you see is the pull or the grip. The pull and the grip basically turn into the same thing here, because my hand was already on the gun. So it messes with the data just a little bit when it comes to that. But you see my reaction times were much quicker. The overall draw times were much quicker as well. But now if we look at the pattern, I guess I only did 4 of them there, but the pattern kind of becomes very a little bit more uniform. So what that tells me is that as I'm doing all of my other stuff and clearing, that it's throwing enough off that it was kind of janking up my draw a little bit here with my hands at the side up, and then the thinker and all of that kind of stuff. So that's where I need to work, and that's probably where most people need to work. Yours may be a little bit different, and so when you look at yours, if you see the shot is the much longer, the red here at the very top, and I know you're probably looking at it on the screen as well, but if you see that being the much longer portion of the draw, then what you need to do is work on basically a different kind of a drill. And what that would look like would be starting from here, and when you get that beep, press out and see that dot. And it may be something that you have to step away from the Mantis for a little bit to really get out there and see your dot or your front sight. But what that would indicate is that you're getting out there and you're fishing around for your sights, or you're over confirming. What I see a lot of people do is over confirm. They see the sight, but it's not quite good enough, and I got to get that perfect hit. You know, depending on the size of your target and the distance and all that kind of stuff, you know, sometimes we can let that shot go so much faster but we don't. So as you're looking at those different portions, look to the one that gives you the lowest hanging fruit, work on that one first, and then look at the next one and work on that one next. Spend a little bit of time in your draw stroke and you'll be surprised what you can do, man. We walk people down from, you know, 3 to 4 to 5 second draws, sometimes in classes, all the way down to, you know, 1.2 dot and nines and that kind of thing from time to time. We just did a class the other weekend, just last weekend, where we had a guy cut 3 seconds off his draw. So he was a 4 second draw when we started, and he was a 1 second draw when we finished, just working on some of the mechanics of the draw. The cool thing with the Mantis, I think, is that it gives you some data and some, you know, to see the lines. You can see what's going on with your pattern and all of that, but it also helps you get in and do the work. And I think where people really struggle more than anything is actually doing the work, because it's hard to go get everything set up, get your barrel block out, get your ammo put away, go do the work, you know, get the kids off to school, whatever the case may be. That's the challenge, I think, for more people with dry fire than anything, is just finding the time to do it and giving themselves that opportunity. And what I like about the Mantis is that, you know, we've got that group that you can go in and see, and there's the group within the Mantis, and then there's the Ask Dry Fire Challenge as well. Just go hang out with folks and do some fun stuff with that. If you don't have a Mantis, you can still work on your draw. You don't have to have a Mantis to do that. They'll tell you that themselves. It just makes it a little bit more fun. And so one thing that, if you're going to do this without the Mantis unit, then what we've really got to do is really focus on what else you're doing during your draw. It brings the camera into play a whole lot. So draw facing the camera and then see what your shoulders are doing. Draw facing away from your camera, watch your shoulders, your neck, and your hips from side to side. See what you're seeing, and you really got to be brutally honest. So dry fire was done for years and years and years before Mantis even existed, and people were great at it. So I'm not saying that you absolutely have to have one. I just say it helps a ton. And so if you've got one, dust that thing out, spend a few minutes, 3 or 4 times this week working on your draw with the holster draw analysis, and share it with us in the dry fire group. See what you see, and maybe get some feedback from some experts in there as well. There's a ton of cool people in there. See you next time.